it always baffles me in Nigeria that we seems to be governed and controlled by those we have termed to be less educated, like us in the South. Just some minutes ago, Malam Nasir Elrufai came out to reinstate that notion that has, that is generally accepted in the North, that they are the key main determinants of whoever the Nigerian president is. In fact, he even cited how Jonathan was booted out of the presidency because he neglected the North. Yeah, before I talk about what Nasir Elrufai is trying to do, because I can see he's the one leading this crusade. He's the one preaching what we call anti-South now. Yes, but I have to remind him that Jonathan actually did a lot for the North. But the point is, you guys are just bigots. You guys are just religious bigots, extremists, and of course, when it is not the Northern in power, you guys will start running up the polity, trying to hit up the society, pushing all manner of protests. In fact, I could remember during the regime of Jonathan, Buhari came out issuing words like, "The bloods of the baboon will be spilled on the streets of Nigeria if emphatically he doesn't win the election in a democracy." So why is it that I do not blame the North? I do not blame the North because we, the so-called South, and this includes the South-South, the Southwest, and the Southeast, who have always, we have always parroted this narrative that we are more educated than the North. That we have our children go to schools more than the North. I don't know how true that is, but we have not been able to find a way to push aside our differences and forge together, have a common purpose, work in unity, and of course, speak in one voice that for anybody to become the president, it is not by the North alone. The South as a collective are equally important. Yes, I understand, because in the South, because we are highly educated and we are divided, based on our political ideologies. In the Southwest, some of feudalism system is there because the godfatherism kind of thrive in the Southwest. I think equally in the South-South, but in the Southeast, they are sort of Republican. Yes, we have some quite numbers of godfatherism, but it has never been successful as it is in the Southwest. In the North, why they seem to have that political cohesion, though not for any good reasons, okay? It's not for any, it's not as if they have what we call good governance, but the only reason why in that North they seem to be so powerful as they think, for me they are not, but the only thing is the South has not discovered itself. When the South discovered itself, the North would see themselves and they will know that they are just featherweight or in fact paperweight. So for us in the South, we have just little thing dividing us, and I think that is just is a simple egocentric nature, our egocentric nature. And I think the Southwest, the reason that in the Southwest there's something we call religious democracy. In the Southwest, they have Muslims, they have Christians. So the North have always had that opportunity to extract the Muslim votes from the Southwest. This is why the North is trying to penetrate, pushing the Sultan to do everything to ensure that it's Sharia, so that when the political, aspirants, all this, what they do is just regionalize our politics. They will not present. They don't present facts. They don't present issues. They don't present how, the know-how, the roadmaps. What they just come is just religious jingoism. That is what they talk about. So it's not a progressive politics that they practice in the North. And this is the basis that Nasir Elrufai is postulating, or should I say, he's the one being braggadocious, because he's saying that Tinubu and his cohort in the Southwest are pushing the urbanization of Nigeria economy, that they are selecting only the Yorubas, and of course some people from the south, sidelining the north, that anybody that messes up with the north ends up, getting kicked out. That the north are a set of people who can never be questioned. These are people that can never be ignored. That the north are a set of people, as far as Nigerian politics is, that without them Nigeria will not move forward politically. I mean, we need to talk to ourselves as the South. If truly we as we claim to be educated, we need to start having what we call a common front, because this is an open challenge. I'm not a supporter of the current administration, but this is an open challenge. I believe most of my supporters know, most of my subscribers know who I voted for during the election. The only reason why I voted for who I voted for was because I felt that will break away the northern hegemony, and indeed it did. Okay, so I am not a fan of Tinubu, but I voted for him during the election. I am now a revolutionary, but I knew that head to head, a Peter Obi wouldn't have defeated an Atiku. And if an Atiku had won the election, it is going to send an internal blow to the South, that power divide between the North and South has been broken. And since it has been broken, they would always want to remain in power in perpetuity. All they have to do is always look for someone from Southeast and make advice. They always want to bring up that conversation that after Buhari we had. So that was just my own. I knew Tinubu was, because Anobi didn't have the radicality. I tell you, if maybe Tinubu had lost the election, I know that Tinubu would have sponsored his thugs. Yes, it wouldn't have been there was no way INEC could have declared him. But pushing that aside, I think this is an indication, and it is quite instructive, because it's coming from Malam Elrufai. So many people respect him, and other than that, he's also a religious jingoist. We know so much he did in southern Kaduna, how he suppressed and he silenced the voice of the Christians in southern Kaduna, how most of them became less privileged. In fact, so many of them couldn't access their farmlands during that period, and we had high level of suppression. I mean, it was only in the north that there was so much prosperity. In the south, there was famine, there was, untimely death. I mean, you can name it. So he is the one now who is now the lead warrior for this northern hegemony. He is now coming out full-fledged. That, listen, South, he is reading out the Riot Act. The Riot Act is, South, you guys are nothing. South, you guys are not the owner of Nigerian politics. South, yes, you might claim you have that self-proclamation that you are educated, but you don't know how the Nigerian politics works. We in the North are the ones fully in charge of the Nigerian politics. We are the ones that decide who is who. We are the ones that ensure that Tinubu got into power, and he cannot get into that power and start implementing policies that will not favor us. What are those policies? Tax reform, regionalization agenda, ensuring that the emancipation of the Middle Belt becomes a reality. The Middle Belt forums are now having a voice. They have regained, they've been able to just regain their lost voices and their pedigree and dignity. The North sometimes say that they are the food basket. It is a lie. It is not the North. It is the Middle Belt. The Middle Belt have no similarities with you guys. You cannot say they are Muslims because they are Muslims. No, everybody can be Muslims. Doesn't mean we are brothers. Okay? No. We are not having the same cultural assimilations or affiliations. No, nothing like that. So Elrufai agenda is clear. He is now the machinery that has been activated to ensure that he makes sure that Tinubu gets imploded and fails and kicked out. And the agenda is simple: put another Fulani man there. We didn't see an Elrufai writing a back-to-back. In a day now, Elrufai is releasing at least about 5 tweets to combat this administration, calling out that this administration is so biased, it's a bigot, it's a this, it's a that. And also, he tries to present himself as a man who is unbiased, as a man who is just, but we know what he did, and we perfectly understand that this is beyond politics. He's trying to bring in that ethnic coloration. He's trying to, politicize it based on, divide and rule, saying that Tinubu is favoring people from the southwest. The people who should complain shouldn't be the north, it should be the southeast. So he lacks the moral standard to speak. He lacks it. The southeast are even comfortable. They are focusing on their Southeast Development Commission. So Elrufai can see his political, relevance getting wiped out, and he cannot accept it, because he feels Tinubu is rendering him useless. And of course, Tinubu is beginning to break the wings of the Fulani'S, and they are scared. They are feeling vulnerable. They think in the next 1 year, if we did not hit up the polity, I might become irrelevant. The Fulani'S, who have been holding the North Central and then so many of the outer lands, might even be chased out. And he's trying to use religion, he's trying to use ethnicity to push that divide, to rile the people up, to agitate the people so that they can have that aggressive protest. But he has failed, because the South will be united, because the Igbos are not complaining, because the Ijaws have gotten small of the things that they've never gotten. The Ogboni University, these Ijaws have been included. There have been inclusivity for the South. So they are scared, and they know finally that they have been exposed. That fallacy, that quote that the North is in charge of the Nigerian politics, has been demystified, it has been exposed, and they have been crushed. And the South must unite, putting aside their differences, no matter what it is, because yes, indeed, we are the most educated, but we must be able to work together as a people to ensure that if Nigeria will fail, we have to be united to ensure that we have our own largest share. But as far as Nigeria is concerned, as far as Nigeria still exists, if the entire South, including the Middle Belt, shuts down, I don't think the North can last 3 months before they beg the South.
Right? Or perhaps Nigeria should develop, at least, to say the least, Nigeria should develop where we all have access to 24-hour power supply, where we all have access to good roads, good education, free education. I mean, we can have this. It is our country. But it is the forces of the Western nation. So it is not a mere battle. We have found ourselves in a situation whereby we keep electing stooges. To cap it up, we have now elected a man who has worked with one of them before, a man who said he has worked with ExxonMobil. There are reports out there that has always exposed how corrupt these international oil companies are to companies. Look at what they did to Angola. Angola was being embattled, serious issues with corruption. At the end of the day, the people behind the corruptions were ExxonMobil and Shell, because they were the ones showing them, this is what we are going to do. We just need few of you in power. The poor masses might not even know. We will just cook up stories that we have oil vandals, we have oil theft, right? But meanwhile, they are the one teaching these guys who are hot tapping the pipes, who are locally refining the crude. This technology was passed down by this expatriate. Okay? So they come in, they mask themselves, they play that smoke screen to deceive us. So what that man said at the beginning of this video is the truth. He said, we are where we are because United Nation is controlled by United States of America. If the oil and gas today dries up, okay, or if the United States of America sees that they can control those people who are seeking for referendum, immediately they would pass vote of confidence, and then they will pass a vote of separation. But it's because they can see that the Igbos are not pushovers. They are saying that the Westerns, the Southwesterners, are now knowledgeable. They understand the worth of their natural resources. So they do not want to parley with them. The Western powers want to keep doing business with the Northerners who are unintelligent, who do not see beyond their nose. And of course, because they have seen the vulnerability of the Northerners, that the Northerners wouldn't even want the Southerners to go. Because if they go, if oil will develop your country in 5 years, agriculture will develop your country in 15 years. So that time that they would wait is what scares them. And this is what the America will keep using. The American companies and all that will keep using to hold Nigeria in this horrible state that we are. Until we have that leader who, first and foremost, will not be a stooge. Secondly, will have the confidence to send these people away, just as Ibrahim Traore sent the French troops out of their country. When Ibrahim Traore was about to send them away, you know what they told them? They said they were going to starve, that they didn't have capacity to grow what they will eat, that the Burkina Faso will start walking naked on the streets of their country. But guess what today? Burkina Faso have become a net exporter of not just cotton, but textile. The other day, I started seeing made in Burkina Faso fabrics. In Nigeria, I was shocked. In just less than 3 years, Burkina Faso today have become a net exporter of tomato paste. Burkina Faso, in less than 3 years that they chased out the colonial masters, found themselves emancipated, liberated. They are now creating their own local fabricated washing machines, agricultural farm tools. I am shocked. I am so inspired that wow. So that struggle must continue. We have to double it down. It's either Nigeria device or the Western powers in form of Shell, Exxon, let our oil be so that we can move forward. If these elements were not there, our corrupt leaders wouldn't have a smooth pathway to loot money. When money is being looted, who accepts the money? Where are those money being stored? Who banks the money? So ask yourself that simple question. Who backs the money that is stolen? You think if the Western allies had good intentions for us, they wouldn't have been exposing how Abacha was looting money those days? You think they would have been exposing how our past presidents who were corrupt have been looting money, and governors? We saw how Alamesia looted a lot of money, took it to UK, started buying houses. They would have challenged him. Their own politicians dare not do that. All right? So we must understand this fact that beyond the Fulani'S, the IOCs are the what? Are the major enslavers of we Nigerians who want to be set free. The IOCs are the ones empowering the Fulani'S. Okay? And because the Fulani'S are more in the Nigerian military, that is why they believe they can do and undo. For now, I say bye. Thank you very much.